Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Sportsfellas. All right.
So today I'm going to give a shout out to all my friends and family. I love you guys.
I'm giving a shout out to all the football fans ready to NFL tomorrow, finally.
Hey guys, it's Chris with a K. I want to shout out my wife and family as always. Also, Andrew and Eric and rest of the crew that help us out, make this thing possible. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, this is Don. Just want to give a shout out to all the Raider fans out there today. We're ready for Monday night. All right, let's go.
This is Chaz, glad to be back. I just want to give a shout out to the Washburn football team starting out 2-0.
All right. And I would like to give a quick shout out to everyone that's tuning in. Thank you. Also, a shout out to the University of Oregon beating Ohio State. Hey, represent the O. And my family, love you guys. And let's go ahead and let's get this show started. Let's do this. So we're going to do a little bit we're going to start off with the NFL Week 1. We're also going to talk about the college game of the week. And also we will tune into Carlito's Soccer Way segment. We're going to talk a little bit about the World Cup qualifications and then a little bit of Chuck's Dugout. So real quick, we want to say thank you to our following sponsors.
Are you needing some insurance? Give our good friend Ernie Ruelas with State Farm Insurance a call. Like a good neighbor, Ernie's there. You can call him at 1-316-682-2300. Or if you're in Wichita, come see his office at 11330 East Central, Suite 400 at Central and Greenridge.
All right, welcome back, everyone. So I am so excited. Week 1.
Yes, finally here.
Let's go.
So we're going to go over the games, and then we're also going to highlight the game of the week, which is going to be the Las Vegas Raiders hosting the Baltimore Ravens. So let's first start off with you, Eric. Let's talk about Seattle going to Indianapolis. Who do you got and why?
I got Seattle. I'm not going to pick against Russell Wilson in Week 1. Shaky defense for the Colts. I just think Russell Wilson's got it.
And then for Jacksonville versus Houston, I'm going to pick Jacksonville. This Trevor Lawrence, he's the most NFL-ready quarterback we've seen in a while as a rookie. And then the Texans are just in shambles. So I'm going to Jacksonville.
We're just sticking with the Seattle-Indianapolis game.
It's okay. Yeah, he got excited.
That's okay. Do you want to pick the Seattle-Indianapolis game, Taylor?
I'm going to just go off what Eric said. Russell Wilson's always hot. I'm not going to go against him.
I got the same thing, pretty much same thing. Seattle over in Indianapolis. I mean, Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, bam.
I'm also going to go with Seattle because I don't think Indiana can keep up with the pace of Seattle because their speed is a lot better than it. It may kind of slow them down with their defense, but overall, game quick is on.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you have Seattle and you have Russell Wilson, an MVP candidate every single year he plays, but I'm more interested to see how Carson Wentz plays. I think Indianapolis has a really, really good defense, and they have some weapons on offense. T.Y. Hilton signed. So I really want to see how Carson comes out and plays. I think it'll be a close game, but I think Russell Wilson finds a way to slip away with it, probably by 2 scores.
All right. Well, this is going to be a fascinating game. Shout out to Kyle, the Colts tomorrow. This is what I see. So with Seattle going in, and we have Chris Carson come in. I consider him as an elite running back. I mean, Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. And they just signed Herbert from the Rams. He came over. He's over to Seattle. So Russell's got a little bit more weapons going in. I'm still questioning a little bit on their defense. I mean, Jamal Adams just got that contract signed, I believe. I don't know if they picked up any other. Have they picked up any other defensive pieces? I don't
know if they have any huge pieces, but a lot of last year's struggles were they had injuries.
So this is going to be a new look. I mean, I'm going to give it to Seattle. I think it'll be a close game. I want to see how Carson Wentz is going to fit into that system. I think he's going to play a little bit better if he can stay healthy. So, all right, so we all vote it's going to be Seattle. All right, on to the next game. Next game up, we have Jacksonville and Houston Texans. So Jacksonville Jags and Houston Texans. So, Chaz, who you got and why?
Yeah, I'm going to take Jacksonville. I don't think that this game is really much to talk about. Interested to see how Trevor Lawrence plays in his debut against a real defense, a defense coordinator that's going to be scheming against them. But I don't think Houston has the weapons or the management and the way they've handled the offseason. I'm not sure that team's going to play very hard.
But Jackson also, we don't even know, I haven't even seen who's the starting quarterback for Houston yet. So, therefore, we've seen what's been happening in the offseason. So there's not really much.
I believe the starting quarterback is Tyrod Taylor.
That's
Houston.
correct.
Okay.
I'm actually going to pick Houston. I think, honestly, I think that Jacksonville and Houston are kind of a toss-up. I think that there's still a lot of inexperience in Jacksonville. And Houston, although they've lost a majority of their stars, they're still paying guys a lot of money. And those guys are still going to work really hard. And I think they can surprise somebody at home opening weekend with a coach and quarterback who are both rookies coming in. I think Houston might pull a big upset here.
All right, Chuck, you heard that.
I'm also going to go with Jacksonville. I just think Trevor Lawrence is too NFL ready of a quarterback to lose to Houston. Houston, they don't have much offensively or defensively. I just think it's going to be too much for.
I'm actually going to go with Houston as well, just like Chris over there. First game jitters for Trevor Lawrence. First team reps. So we'll see how he does when he really gets blitzed and can really get touched. So I think Houston might be able to pull off the upset.
I'm intrigued
Don't
about
underestimate that athleticism.
I'm intrigued real quick. See what Jacksonville's going to do. Like it was mentioned, we got Urban Meyer going in, and also Trevor Lawrence. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, him and teaming up with Marvin Jones, right? Marvin Jones. I see a tandem right there, and then the running scheme. Overall, they got more experience going in against Houston because Houston's in kind of disarray. But I'm going to give it close to Jacksonville. So
they added a lot of weapons on defense as well.
Any given Sunday.
True,
Yeah.
Literally.
All right, on the next game, so we got the Philadelphia Eagles going against the Atlanta Falcons. Chris, who do you got?
I have Atlanta home game, Matt Ryan, and Philadelphia is just a pretty big mess.
I'm also going to go with Atlanta. I just think that Matt Ryan, Calvin Ridley connection is too strong, and then Jalen Hurts has only had a few starts in his career. I think it's going to be too much for Philadelphia to play against well-prepared Atlanta at home.
I'm going to go with Atlanta as well. Like mentioned, all the weapons, but I think that tight end is going to have a big game. Maybe his coming out party for this first game, I think they're going to get him involved. So my pick is Matt Ryan and the Falcons.
Same thing. Playing at home.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Atlanta. I like Matt Ryan's experience at the quarterback position against a Eagles team that has failed to put anything together in the recent years. And I think that Jalen Hurts might have some exciting plays, but I expect him to struggle a little bit now that defensive coordinators have tape on him. I still think that his upside is going to be really high, but I think he's going to struggle a little bit in week one, and the experience of Matt Ryan will be enough to push them past.
Those are good points. I'm going to go with Atlanta as well. I mean, it's Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is going to get to experiment with some new weapons going in, and as well, like what Taylor mentioned about the quarterback and wide receiver core going together. I mean, you've got what's the other wide receiver? Gage.
Russell Gage.
Russell Gage. I mean, he's also a silent sleeper as a wide receiver. So I want to see how that plays out. So we'll see. So we'll all go for Atlanta. All right, next up, we've got the Los Angeles Chargers going to play against the Washington football team. Chaz, I'm going to start that off with you.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. The obvious pick is I'm going to go with the Chargers. I like Justin Herbert. I think that he's going to build going into year two. You got a healthy Keenan Allen. Their defense is really, really, really good. But I'm interested. I love watching Ryan Fitzmagic play football. I won't lie, he's one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch just because he's so fun, and you never know. When he might come out and throw 4 picks and no touchdowns, and he might come out and throw 3 touchdowns, run for 2, throw 2 picks, and still find a way to beat you. It'll be a fun game to watch, but yeah, I'm looking forward to watching Justin Herbert sling it around a little bit.
think we'll go with the Washington football team. Because it's going to be more of a defensive game. Because Washington has a great defense. And even with the offensive weapons that the Chargers have, but it's going to be a close game. But this Magic, at any given time, you can throw up either 4 touchdowns or 3 picks, but I think he's going to pull it out at home against the Chargers.
Like Don, I'm going to go with the Washington football team, mostly because of Fitzmagic. As I've watched his career grow, he seems to especially play better earlier on in the season, early games. And I think, like Don said, this is going to be a more defensive game. He's hopefully he doesn't have those 4 interceptions. But I'm going to go with Washington football team, Fitzmagic.
Same for me. I'm going to go with Washington football team. I think it'll be a close game defensive, but I just think that defensive line for Washington's just going to be too much for Herbert. He's inexperienced, and Washington's pretty balanced offensively.
I'm going to be like Chaz and go with the Chargers.
Smart man.
I don't think Justin Herbert's going to have the sophomore slump. I think he's going to be the one that breaks out of it. I also think that as long as they stay away from Chase Young, they'll win this game. So keep Justin Herbert.
Worried about Austin Eckler in that run game too.
Right. So as long as Justin Herbert stays upright and not on his back and away from Chase Young, they'll win this game.
And that's a good point. And I'm gonna go ahead and go with you as well with the Chargers, just because I want to see Mike Williams step up. I know Keenan Allen is the number 1 top option, but I want to see Mike Williams step up as well.
He is.
And then hopefully Austin Eckler get in there and get some yards. But I feel Justin is going to be in good hands. So I'm going to go with the Chargers.
Sleeper pick. I think he might run into the MVP conversation at the
could.
end of the year.
He could.
Okay, well, we're going to keep an eye on that. All right, so
They
I'm going to
win
start this. I'm going to start this off with you, Eric. So we've got the Pittsburgh Steelers going against the Buffalo Bills. Tell me why your team's going to win.
I'm going to pick the Steelers because I don't pick against my team if they're good or bad. It's going to be a close game, though. I think it's going to be a close game, defensive game, and I think hopefully Big Ben can just do enough to pull it out. But it's going to be close. They got to contain Josh Allen and all of his offensive weapons. And with T.J. Watt signing that 4-year, $112 million deal, he's going to be playing with his hair on fire. So I'm going with my Steelers.
I'm going to have to go with Buffalo just because that Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs connection. I don't know who would stop Stephon Diggs from scoring, and then that offensive line for Pittsburgh is so shaky right now. I mean, it could go either way, but I'm going to go with the Bills on this one.
I've also got to go with the Bills. I'm not a fan of Pittsburgh Steelers, but not because of that. I think the Bills are just, especially early on in the season, a more complete team rolling over from last year. They're a strong team, and I think it is going to be a close game, closer than I'm going to guess that the odds maker. I don't know what the line is on it right now. I was trying to pull that up real quick, but I think that it's going to be a pretty close game. But Bills at home for first game of the season after a pretty successful year for the Bills last year. I think they're coming in on a high note. So
It's kind of hard in this one because it can go either way, but if the Bills can't get their run game going, I'd have to give it to Pittsburgh because they got their starting running back, rookie running back.
Najee Harris.
That can go all over the place with
Tide.
it. But if the Bills can get their run game to keep a balanced offense going, I have to give the edge to Pittsburgh.
And Chris, with a K, that's the Steelers are underdogs by 6.5.
okay, yeah, I don't think it'll. I think that's a bigger line than it should be. I think it's going to be closer to a field goal.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with the Bills. Just how balanced they are on offense. I think Josh Allen's going to settle in a little bit, especially after a couple playoff wins under his belt. They can run the ball. Their defense is very, very talented.
Underrated.
They like to run man coverage. They like to get after the quarterback. And the Steelers have just struggled in big games. I'm just going to carry that over from last season. Also, these AFC teams have to look very, very seriously at these Week 1 games because it's going to matter in seeding. Because I think both these teams make the playoffs, and you're talking about who's going to get home field advantage, especially when it comes down to, I think it'll be the Bills and the Chiefs fighting for it. But I think the Pack make the playoffs. But I'm going to have to go with the Bills. I'm going to say by 10.
Okay.
This is a tough game. I'm really
I think
looking
Big
at
Ben
it.
turns it over.
Looking at it on paper and watching both teams, the thing that observing the Bills, they struggle against stopping the run. And now with Najee Harris, he's a phenomenal running back going in, and now we have everyone come. So we have Juju going back, and then also Chris Claypool, and then Ebron, right?
Eric Ebron, yep.
You got more weapons going on. But on the same token, let's talk about Buffalo. See, the thing with Buffalo, Josh Allen.
X Factor. He's an X Factor.
That Bills Mafia.
And their
they're at home.
secondary is nothing to play with.
Nope.
They're at home. So I gotta go with I'm gonna go ahead and give it to the Steelers.
I feel like you're 50-50 on it.
It's tough, you guys. It's tough. Bills Mafia, hey, I like you guys. And also, I'm going against I'm also wanting to choose Pittsburgh as well, but I'm going to give a slight edge to the Steelers. I'll give it to the Steelers a little bit. So, all right, let's move on to the next one here. So we've got San Francisco 49ers going against the Detroit Lions. I'm going to start this off with Taylor. Who you got and why?
I've got San Francisco. I just don't think Detroit offensively or defensively really has any playmakers. They've got a good tight end, but beyond that, there's really not much in San Francisco as long as they don't all tear their ACLs like last year. I think they're going to just dominate.
Knock on some wood, man. Dang.
So for me, this is an easy game for San Francisco. I've never believed in Jared Goff. I watched him throw at the combine. I wasn't impressed. Detroit has been in shambles for decades now, and I think there's too many weapons that San Francisco has at running back, at wide receiver. Their defense is very good. They have a lot of good players coming back. George Kittle is in there as well. A healthy George Kittle. So I think this is an easy week 1 game for San Fran.
I'm going to have to say, I don't think it's a cakewalk. I think Detroit has a really good defense, actually, and they surprise a lot of people by sticking in games. They just can't pull through late. I think Jared Goff won't have any more success than Matthew Stafford had. I think Matthew Stafford's an elite-style quarterback. I think San Fran pulls it out. I think they dominate in the run game. And I think that Jared Goff is too much of a game manager to be supported by their defense.
For San Francisco, I haven't seen any moves that they've made to really make them a better team. Because like Eric said, they've been in shambles for decades. So they really haven't done anything to get a team together to be very successful in their division alone. So they've always been dead last.
I'd have to go with San Francisco as well. Right now, I was looking at the spreads, and they've actually got the biggest spread of the week right now on the numbers right now. I'm not saying go bet or anything, but that's currently what it's looking like. And I would say that they're probably going to win. It's a pretty big spread that I see, but they have a better team. It's as simple as that. They have a better team.
I'll make it simple.
Even with the little questions at the quarterback, they're still a better team.
It's going to be San Francisco. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. San Francisco's got more weapons, and now that they got players coming back from injury last year.
There.
So all right. So next game up, we've got Minnesota going against the Cincinnati Bengals. So Chaz, I'm gonna start that off with you for all the Viking fans out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Minnesota by at least 2 scores. We're back healthy on defense. Danielle Hunter, an elite pass rusher. I don't know why he slept on in the league. Back and healthy. Anthony Barr will be sitting out tomorrow. Not too worried about that.
He
missed all season. We got Eric Kendricks. We added Patrick Peterson. Harrison Smith just signed a deal. Those young DBs have been developed late in the last season. Don't forget we got Dalvin Cook. If he's healthy, he might be the rushing leader this year. I think Kirk Cousins has built some confidence. We played well last year, scored a lot of points. If we can stop them on defense, which I don't think will be an issue, I think we win by at least 14. No offense, I think Joe Burrow struggled, especially against Mike Zimmer's defense. He knows how to scheme against guys.
Chris?
Well, so Mike Zimmer was a long-time defensive coordinator in Cincinnati. Great defensive coordinator, amazing defensive mind. There was one thing that he struggled with, particularly in big games, that Houston ran, which was the zone run, the wide zone scheme. And the offensive line coach under Gary Kubiak, who's now, his son is the offensive coordinator for Minnesota, but was the wide zone. And Zimmer's defense struggled pretty mightily against that zone run, and with Mixon running it, our offensive line's pretty strong. I got to go with Cincinnati home field. Welcome to the jungle, baby. We're back.
Eric Kendricks. That's all we need for the zone read, baby.
I'm also going to go with Minnesota. They've got Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. I don't see Cincinnati stopping all three of those. And on top of that, I think Cincinnati is just going to try to ease Joe Burrow back from his injury. I don't think they're going to go full out, so I'm going to go with the Vikings on that.
So for me, I was just up in Minnesota last weekend. Went to the fair, second biggest state fair in the country. So shout out to all the people in Minnesota and that good bacon I had up there and those cookies. But the pulse of the city, I got to go with the Vikings on this. They got this game.
Hey, same here, Vikings. 2 reasons: Kirk Cousins and Dalvin Cook.
All right, shout out to Todd here. I'm a big Vikings fan. We're going to have to go Minnesota, but I'm going to call it out. I'm going to give it, it's going to be by a touchdown. It'll be by a touchdown.
Spreads by 3 right now.
I'm going to tell you why. It's because Joe makes it, don't count him out. He's a good running back. So, but I'm going to give Minnesota by 7. So, all right, the next up.
We also, don't forget, we brought Everson Griffin back. I'm so happy about that.
All right, we're going to see. So, all right, next game up, we got Arizona Cardinals going against the Tennessee Titans. Don, who you got?
It's a tough one, but I'm going to have to give the edge to Tennessee because it's at home. They got a great run game, but, so does Arizona has, Kyler Murray in the West. He's got places. I'm going to have to give it to Tennessee because of the run game pass.
I'm going to go with Tennessee as well. They have arguably the best running back in the league. Their quarterback plays really good when the running game is going. Their defense is good. They have Julio Jones now, so coming out party for him maybe. See how he's doing with that other wide receiver. I can't remember his name on the other side. AJ Brown. So I think they're more solidified at the wide receiver position, so I'm going with Tennessee.
I'm going to have to go with Tennessee as well. I just think with Derrick Henry, they're just going to pound the ball, play some old school ball control offense, and I was not going to be able to get on the field as much.
Yep, it's Tennessee.
Go ahead, wave the flag. I'm going to go with Arizona on this one.
Oh.
I think that they have the weapons. They added some key people on defense. Chandler Jones, one of the elite pass rushers to ever play the game, is back. J.J. Watt is back. You got Budda Baker. I really think that Arizona hasn't been talked about enough in the offseason. I think that they're going to be very, very good, and I think that they'll find a way to beat Tennessee.
So you think they got past all their preseason struggles? Because they didn't look very good in preseason.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it. Honestly, it's preseason.
I'm talking about Kyler's play in general.
Oh, I'm not worried about it. He'll get comfortable, and I mean they have a good running game too.
True.
They'll get him comfortable with some short throws, and then like I said, those improvements on defense. I think that he'll even be more comfortable because he won't have to be making Hail Mary throws to DeAndre to win games.
That's another 3-point spread. How do you feel about that?
I think that it probably comes down to a field goal.
Okay.
I think that one's, yeah.
All right. On the next game we've got the Cleveland Browns going to Kansas City to play the Chiefs. I'm going to start this off with you, Chris. Who you got and why?
I'm going to go ahead and pick Cleveland.
Oh.
I don't know why. Just I think the Baker is going to come in and he likes to mix it up sometimes. So I think they're gonna pull something out. Let's see what happens.
Stop the press. I think the Chiefs fans, we're gonna get a lot of. Okay, so Taylor, who do you got?
I'm gonna piggyback off Chris. I'm going with Cleveland.
Oh,
AFC North brotherhood right there.
I just think Cleveland's gonna come out playing hot, aggressive. They're gonna be pissed off from their loss last year. They've got Nick Chubb who's gonna pound the ball, and then another thing, they've got Garrett and Clowney against that new offensive line for the Chiefs.
Good point.
That's a solid point.
So I'm going to be the rational one here and go with the Chiefs. Too many weapons. Plus, they did replace Eric Fisher with Orlando Brown Jr., who vowed to protect.
Where did he come from?
The Ravens.
Yeah.
Definitely future Hall of Famer. So I think Kansas City definitely has this game. I think it's going to be a better game than people think because, OBJ is back. Baker does. He is a game guy, so he'll get up for the game. But I don't think the Browns have enough to stick with the Chiefs, especially in a shootout game. So go Chiefs.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with Kansas City. Too many weapons, but.
Raiders, man, picking Kansas City.
Traitor.
I got to, because Kansas City at home. You know, too many weapons. It could turn into a shootout, but when it comes toward the end, Kansas City, comes to, too many drives, they got it.
That's a 5.5 point spread, Carlos.
Well, here's the thing here, Eric. I'm going to say this. Cleveland this year, they've got more additional weapons going. So OBJ's back. Also, Landry. So you got Landry in.
Nick Chubb.
Chubb's running the ball.
Kareem
And the
Hunt.
defensive wise, Jadeveon Clowney. So you got Jadeveon Clowney.
Which Clowney, though? Which Clowney?
That's true.
Okay, like I said before, as long as he came from South Carolina, can you bring that tenacity into the game? But it's going to be at home, and Kansas City's tough to beat at home. So just because it's week one, I'm going to give it to Kansas City. But I'd like to see Cleveland win, though. But I think it'll probably be Kansas City. All right, moving on. Miami Dolphins against the New England Patriots. Don, who do you got?
I have to edge it out to New England because it's at home. Hard to beat them in Foxborough. They got the new quarterback, Mac Jones, and he's ready to come out firing.
So I'm going to go with Miami because Miami always plays New England tough. It doesn't matter where they're at.
True.
And I think it's Tua time. And plus, they just named Mac Jones the starter. He's a rookie for New England who's never had game time yet. Tua has experience. I think Miami wins this game.
I'm going to have to give the Patriots this edge just because Bill Belichick, he's great against young QBs, and then they've got all those, defensively, they have all those players coming from opt-out last year. That's going to make a big difference.
Yeah, I've got to go with Miami. Similar reasons that Eric was saying. They do play them every year so tough, and have won several years, broken some of New England's long winning streaks at the time, even when Miami was not very good. And I really like Brian Flores. I think he knows how to play Bill Belichick, and I think that Tua is going to be ready.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with New England on this one. It's not an easy pick. I really would like to go with Tua, but what I've seen out of Mac Jones so far, he looks well ready. He made some of the question marks go away in preseason. He showed tremendous arm strength and accuracy to me. He even gave guys an attempt at balls that maybe they shouldn't have. Yeah, I don't know. I think Bill Belichick schemes very well against Tua. I do hope to see Tua play well. I think this is a close game. Comes down to a field goal either way.
All right, moving on to the next game. So we've got the Green Bay Packers against the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to start this off with Taylor. Who do you got and why?
I have Green Bay. I just think Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, and then Aaron Jones is just too much for the New Orleans defense to handle. And plus, they've got Jameis Winston, who we don't know how many picks he's going to throw. So.
I'm going with New Orleans, interestingly enough. I really think that Sean Payton schemes well. He knows how to play Green Bay. He's faced them numerous times. And I think that Jameis Winston's got some surprises for the Green Bay defense.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with New Orleans because it's at home. Jameis Winston's a more mobile quarterback. Aaron Rodgers may throw 2 or 3 touchdowns, but I think Jameis Winston has just enough weapons to pull out victory at home.
I'm definitely going to go with Green Bay. I think Aaron Rodgers had a long off season. I think he's ready to get out and just play football again. I think it's going to be somewhat of a shootout. I think that a lot of people are going to be impressed with Jameis Winston. I mean, he has thrown for 5,000 yards before. I don't think that he's that bad. We saw how Tom Brady struggled in the offensive scheme in Tampa Bay as well. So I think Green Bay walks away with this. Aaron Rodgers walks out of New Orleans with a dub.
I think Green Bay's got this. Arrested Aaron Rodgers, so it's early in the season. Usually his calf doesn't flare up until the end of the season. Got a lot of weapons coming back. I think New Orleans' defense is very good, so as long as Aaron doesn't have to run around a lot and he stays upright, I think Green Bay wins this game. But I think it's going to be maybe a 7-point game.
All right, next up, so we got the Sunday night game. We got the Chicago Bears going against the Los Angeles Rams. Chris, who do you got and why?
I'm going with the Rams. I think Stafford's going to just outduel the Dalton Fields combination, however that winds up working out for him.
But with the Rams, I think their defense is just going to be too hard to get up.
I'm gonna go with the Rams. I think Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay are gonna impress a lot of people this year.
Gonna go with the Rams as well. I just think they're a better overall team, better coaching.
I'm going to go with the Rams as well, but I'm going to say it for a different reason. Matthew Stafford has played this Bears team many times in his career.
So much.
So he knows how they are. So I think he adds that to the Rams' repertoire of schemes and coming up with finding ways for the offense to score points. I just think this is the start of maybe one of his best years of his career in a long time because he has a great coach with Sean McVay, and they have a team around him, and this is his time.
Well,
if
let's
any
not
time.
forget, Khalil Mack will be chasing him around all day.
This is
tomorrow.
true, but he's played against Khalil Mack before.
Oh, I know, and he struggled. Everybody struggles against Khalil Mack. Trust me, I see him twice a year.
You see, Don, why'd you guys let him go from the Raiders? Why'd you?
Mhm.
But, all right, what the last game of that week for Sunday, we have the Denver Broncos going against the New York Giants. Who do you got, Taylor, and why?
I'm gonna go with the Broncos on this one. I just think their secondary is too much for New York Giants to overcome. We don't know how much we're going to see from Saquon. I'm going with.
I think the Broncos are going to win this game with Teddy Bridgewater, the veteran, at quarterback, and I think is Von Miller back, Chaz?
Yes.
Yeah. So Von Miller. So that defense is set right there. If he's in the game, they're already hard to beat. And the Giants, I don't believe in their quarterback. I'm glad Saquon's back. I expect them to have a good game, test that knee out, and see how it really is. But I think the Broncos defense will just hold them.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Broncos. I like the experience at the quarterback position. They're pretty solid on defense. I think Teddy Bridgewater has a solid game, and I think it's going to be a long day for them.
Long day for Daniel Jones.
Yes.
Hey, Broncos, the defense alone, John can't handle it.
Yeah, I got to go with the Broncos as well. The offensive line for the Giants was they're still mixing with. They just traded for Cincinnati's backup center, which that's pretty. They're trading for something there that shouldn't be their fix to their offensive line. So, and with Von Miller back, and that is a strong defense. That Fangio.
Get my quarterback.
Weird.
Get my coach's name right.
A freaky name, man.
Here's the thing. Denver defensively. I mean, that we picked up Patrick Surtain. Is he the second or the junior? He's junior.
I think it's second.
The second. Well,
Second.
okay. So I mean, we've got on our defense side now, and we also have Chubb and Von Miller back going in there. It's going to be a fun game to watch. I'm still excited to see Saquon play again. I mean, that was a horrible injury he had. So, but it's going to be Denver. So now let's go on to the game of the week. So we've got the Baltimore Ravens going to the Las Vegas Raiders. All right, so in the studio we have our Raven fan Taylor and we have our Raider fan Don. I'm going to start this off with the visitor team. Taylor, tell me why the Ravens are going to win.
2 words for you, Lamar Jackson. As you all know, we have had a terrible string of injuries in the past few weeks. It'd be difficult for any team to overcome, but I think just due to the fact that Lamar Jackson, as dynamic of a quarterback as he is, whoever he has handing the ball off to is going to eat. So I think we've got Tyson Williams. We have Latavius Murray, who is a proven running back, and then we'll see what we have out of Le'Veon Bell. I think they're just going to rush. I don't think the Raiders defense is going to be able to handle them, along with, we all know Sammy Watkins. Ball is out first game of the year. You may never hear his name the rest of the season, but he'll be there for that first game.
Don,
Come on.
for the Raider Nation.
And this is at home. First home game. We haven't lost home over yet. Baltimore just got a much better defensive line. Derek Carr's going to come out and throw for at least 2 touchdowns or 3. You know, we got offensive weapons that are just going to just go around that defense. Hey, because I'm not going to bet against my Ravens.
So he can't even say his team. That's how excited he is.
I'm so
Okay,
excited.
so I'm going to be the first one to ask. So if it's going to be a running back committee, Taylor, going against their line is good. Their front line is good, but their secondary, I've told Don this a couple times, and no offense to the Raider Nation, I mean, you guys struggle against the pass. You got Sammy Watkins going in. You got Sammy Watkins, Mark Andrews, and then who's your other wide receiver?
Marquise Brown.
Hollywood
Brown.
Hollywood. Are you guys going to be able to stop that offensive if Lamar Jackson throws the ball accurately, hopefully?
As long as that defensive front gets after him and keep him confused, we got this.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Vegas on this. I'm a big John Gruden fan. I'm a big Derek Carr fan. I'm a believer. I think that they've improved on defense. Their run game is very, very solid. We know John Gruden's going to run the football. Not to mention they have Henry Ruggs, I believe, to take the top off. I think Vegas will be exciting to watch this year. I think Baltimore has a lot to come over just with all the injuries and the impact that that has on practices and atmosphere in a locker room. They could come out and surprise us, but I think that Vegas is going to put a lot of pressure on Lamar Jackson to create plays, and sometimes it's hard to create enough plays in a game.
So I just changed my pick. I'm going to go with the Raiders as well. Because this is kind of Derek Carr's kind of proving season, right? To see if he's really worth the salt still. Because they paid him a lot of money from eating Chick-fil-A, like he said.
I was about to say.
Also, Darren Waller, he just got paid, so he's going to be, I think he's going to be an anchor on that offense and a check down for Derek Carr. I mean, he's not always a check down. Sometimes he's the first route. Henry Ruggs, Josh Jacobs, a lot of weapons. Baltimore, if Lamar doesn't have a good game, I think you stack the box against him and make him beat you with his arm. I don't know if he can do that week one.
I'm going to show my FC North brothers some more love and go with Baltimore. I think that John Harbaugh is a great coach. I think he knows how to build depth in his team. He was a special teams coach, so he kind of mastered the back end of the roster with his special teams knowledge. And so I think that when he has some, especially the skill positions, I think he knows how to kind of have some good backups in there. And their lines are still strong. I don't think they have, am I right, Taylor? They haven't had a lot of injuries, their fronts are still pretty strong.
As of today, yes.
Yes. So I'm going to go with Baltimore. I think Lamar has he's in a prove it year too. I mean, he's had since his MVP year, he's kind of not had the best time. He still went to the playoffs and had a good year last year, but there was a lot of questions, especially early on in the year. So I'm hoping that he's going to shine. I've always been a Lamar Jackson fan, except for when he's playing my team.
Sounds fair and square. So that will conclude week one's game, and tune in for that next episode when we do week 2 game. So let's go ahead and give a quick shout out and a thank you to our following sponsors.
Hey everyone, it's time to put new life into your painting with Chris Arredondo. Call him for all your painting needs, indoor and outdoor. Make all your things look new with Chris. Call him at 316-992-6434. That's New Life Painting with Chris Arredondo.
All right, you guys. So we have a new segment, which is called Carlitos Soccer Ways. So for the soccer fans out there.
Boot bowl.
Yeah, on the road to the World Cup, and I believe it's next year, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, and it'll be in Qatar or Qatar. How do you say it? Is it Qatar? How do you say it? Okay, so you guys, for all the audience out there, what I'm going to do is we're going to go brief. We're going to follow all covering Europe, Asia, South American qualifications. So right now, we have the USA defeating Honduras 4-1. Mexico tied against Panama 1-1. Costa Rica and Jamaica tied 1-1. So tune in, you guys. We will give you more updates on that segment. So on to the college game of the week. We had the number 12 Oregon Ducks visiting Chris's college team, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Chris, how did the game go?
Upset Saturday.
I said Chris.
There was a lot of question. I think that everyone's kind of felt that maybe Ohio State was a little overrated this year with as young as they are, and I think that it's kind of fallen that way. I mean, they had a slow start coming out against Wisconsin last week. They have another slow start coming out against Oregon, but letting them get on top of them. They just couldn't get back. I mean, they lost by a touchdown, and that's happened right in the first quarter where they were down by a touchdown and just couldn't get back. The young quarterback there, he's struggling a little against the better teams. I think we might see that this year. I think we might see him, if they don't get over the slow start thing they've had the last couple of weeks, they're going to struggle to beat some of the better teams in the Big 12, the Big 10, and other bigger conferences.
Yeah,
So,
I was really
congrats, Oregon. They're a good-looking team. They're going to look better. They didn't even have their best player on the field today, so that Pac-12's finally got a worthy team.
Yeah, I was going to touch on that. The Oregon defense really stepped up and impressed me today.
Yeah.
Honestly, with Ohio State, just being the football guy I am, when you're playing those read option teams and you stay in that man coverage, your corners have to crack or play. They ate them up on the left side. I'm not sure who the corner is for Ohio State, number 3. Simple drill. You just, as soon as you see him crack the linebacker, you have to be there to replace the edge, and they just failed to do that. It also came down to a lot of like young team things like holding penalties and false starts and drop passes and letting balls sail on you that are easy completions. I just thought they looked young. They didn't make the plays that they needed to do, and penalties killed them, and Oregon looked legit.
Mm-hmm.
For me, you said it was the corners. I think it was a linebacker play.
That too. Both of them were terrible.
A team like Ohio State, which kind of set in stone, is their linebackers. Linebackers, running backs. That's what you think of when you think of Ohio State, and the linebacker play wasn't there. Also, shout out to a Pac-12 team beating a top 5 team on the road, first time since 1990. The other time it was they had lost 14 of those games straight. So, maybe the Pac-12 is back. We'll see when it gets to playoff time because the Pac-12 usually doesn't do good. But great win for Oregon, and this is my favorite day of the week, Upset Saturday.
We want to give a quick shout out to Ryan, still in the family, big Oregon Duck fans. Also, my daughter, she's starting, she's learning Oregon. All right, so we're going to give a quick shout to Micah Miller over there representing Ohio State. Micah, you let CJ Verdell run 161 yards with 2 touchdowns. It looked like it opened. That line opened, and I saw him just running through the Big O through those touchdowns. It was phenomenal to watch. And yes, the quarterback for Oregon as well. It was just the read option. Also, these plays they were scheming. Ohio State looked lost, but it was a good shootout game. But at the end, that Ohio State quarterback threw that costly interception, so he just wasn't ready for that. So tune into the next week for the next college game of the week. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to everybody's favorite segment, the Mano a Mano. This is brought to you by Sky Trampoline. Guys, visit us online get you a discount. And look into Sky Trampoline. They have wonderful park there. Also, you can watch football games, hang out, and we'll have more information going forward on that. So let's go ahead and start off with our guest here, Taylor. Taylor, you will go against Eric here. So question number 1 for you is, with the Ravens losing J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards and Marcus Peters, how confident do you feel that they are still contenders in the AFC? And if so, why?
So I'm going to say I'm still confident. My confidence is lowered just a little bit, but they've got next man up mentality. They've got great players on other positions, and they've just got too many playmakers to not consider them contenders.
So you're telling me they're not contenders?
No, I'm saying they've got too many playmakers to say that they are not contenders.
Okay, apologize.
I'm going to say that they're not contenders because in this league, in the AFC North, you have to have corners that can shut down playmakers. So how are they going to match up against my team, the Steelers, with Chase Claypool and Eric Ebron and all the other players we have? Can they match up now? Do they have a corner that can tackle Najee Harris? Do they have corners that can crash up on the run game? I just don't think they can do it. I think this might be. I mean, they still have Lamar, so you got to count him as their X factor. But I just don't think they're now maybe dropped to number 3 instead of the number 1 or number 2 team in the conference.
So I'm going to go and say they've got Marlon Humphrey. He's a top 5 cornerback in the NFL. They've got a great pass rush. They have Justin Houston. Calais Campbell's going to be back and healthy, and they've got some good rookies who I think are going to be able to create pressure and take pressure off the secondary.
I mean, I just don't know if they have a guy now that can match up with Juju now. And of course, Ben's experience. He's played this team a lot. He's played against Coach Harbaugh. So now that they're kind of hemorrhaging at the cornerback position, I don't see it. In cold weather game, I don't see it.
I'm going to go and say, even if we struggle on the secondary, even if when we match up against a team like the Steelers, I think if we're playing on defense with that offensive line that they have, we're going to be able to do enough pressure-wise to get to Ben and force rush throws and stop them that way.
But we're not just talking about the Steelers now. We're talking about the whole conference. So can they match up against the Browns? Can they match up against the Bengals? It's not just the Steelers now. You get us twice, but you got to play a whole bunch of other people too.
Do you have anything to?
I'm going to say that just Lamar's going to. I have
He is an
confidence he's
MVP.
going to.
He's folding under pressure.
He's got some new receivers. He has Sammy Watkins. He has Rashad Bateman, who will be back in a few weeks, and he's going to take the next step as a passer to prove all these doubters.
I will believe it when I see it.
Oh. All right. So on that one, I'll go ahead. I'll give that to Eric. All right, Eric. I got you on that one. Okay. Next up, I'm going to start this off with you, Chaz. Chaz, according to Cam Newton being released from New England, what is your opinion on why he was released? Was he considered a distraction? If so, why?
Yeah. My opinion, I think Cam Newton's in the top half of quarterbacks in this league. Huge Cam Newton fan. Is he a distraction in New England? Yes. You have Bill Belichick. He had the COVID thing. So some of their fans don't like him dancing around and having a good time. He dresses a little bit different. He does things a little bit different. I love that to see that out of players. Some organizations don't, and we know the Patriots are an all business kind of place. Even we've had a lot of players, even Tom Brady, spoken out against how they run things there. Is he a distraction in New England? Yes. Do I believe that he's a distraction anywhere else? No. Do I think he's in the top half of quarterbacks in this league? Absolutely.
Chris?
I would actually agree that he is a distraction. He's a number one quarterback. He's not a number two. You can't put Cam Newton behind somebody. There's just going to be too many. Anytime the number one, if Cam Newton was a number two, anytime that number one guy made anything wrong, Cam, what do you think about his play? Hey Cam, he's not a number two. Maybe if he's getting close, after a couple years of not being a number one, he gets to number two. But he's not a number two, so he would be a distraction on New England. He would be a distraction on any other team that he's on if he's not the number one guy. And right now, I don't think anyone's willing to make that bet. There's a lot of guarantees that go in with the first week of games. So once the first week is over, you've got a lot less guarantees on contracts, and that's, I think, when Cam Newton's going to find a place somewhere where they can work him into a number one spot without all the extra guarantees.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, interestingly, I think maybe Philadelphia could be a landing spot for him. I know that they've been kind of shopping around for quarterbacks. But I don't think he's a number two quarterback at all. He's going to be a distraction. The man played in a Super Bowl against Peyton Manning and almost won. He was an MVP. He was the exciting quarterback for 5+ years in the NFL. Not to mention he's breaking passing records as a rookie. He's running all over the place. He's taking hits. He's just fun to watch. He's an exciting player, and Cam is still a top caliber type guy to me.
I don't know if the reports were true, but they were saying that Mac Jones was showing Cam Newton the playbook, kind of teaching him the playbook. I don't know. I mean, but overall, wherever Cam goes, hopefully he gets a fresh start. He is a number one quarterback, because he's a dynamic player. So, Chaz, I'm going to go ahead and give that to you on that one. All right, so next up, we have Don and Taylor. I'm going to start this off with Taylor. Who will be the victims of the sophomore slumps, or who will have a regression in their season?
Can you give me a few names?
Any sophomore players coming up? Justin Herbert,
Herbert, Jefferson, Claypool, Tua.
Are you speaking on any specific position?
Tua second year or third year?
He's second.
Second year.
That's a lot of people. Yeah.
Just tell me.
I could see Justin Herbert. He took the NFL by storm last year. I think he's still going to be a good quarterback. I don't see him being an MVP caliber player like some people are projecting him to be.
I think he may have the sophomore slump because, he can't, he took the NFL by storm last year, but now that we know what he's about, I think a lot of teams are the game plan around him, and they might slow him down just like this.
Yeah, and then someone like Justin Jefferson, I'd say he's another guy. He took the NFL by storm last season. I think he's going to have a good year, but he's not going to be the best receiver in the league. I think he's going to kind of fall down to earth just a bit.
You have anything to say on that, Chaz?
I think you're crazy.
He might not be the best receiver.
I think if you said both of those things, you would surprise all 32 teams in the NFL and all their defensive coordinators.
Yeah, but he may not be the best receiver, but he's going to still do better this season.
He's going to have a ton of production. If you watch the film, he's a seasoned guy. He's running routes that guys like Stephon Diggs and Keenan Allen and DeAndre Hopkins, the dude I'm sold. He's legit.
Don't get me wrong. I still want him to do well. He's my number one receiver on fantasy. But I just think teams might game plan a little bit more for him.
Adam Thielen being healthy, Dalvin Cook being healthy, he still had production with those guys out. And a healthy defense.
It's kind of hard to pick who's going to have slump. There's so many guys out there to kind of
Hey, Eric, can you help my boy help him out a little bit?
I mean, it's a loaded question.
Yeah.
I think they both had very good points. It's just hard to tell who's going to get the clock. That's really what it comes down to. Do you believe in your guys? I just think it's hard to tell right now.
There's too many people out there kind of pinpoint and pick who.
What about someone like Tua? Did he have enough of a season last year to have a regression or a
new coaching staff?
This one was kind of.
This is a
It's a pretty wide open.
Who is the boss? Who you
Okay,
got?
how about
Chase Young. Is he going to regress?
Yeah, that's
No.
No, I don't think so either. I'm just trying to think of rookies.
It's more specific word. Two players at least, because there's a wide range.
okay. It's good. I mean, but hey, I mean, this is you guys got to rack up the points.
I know.
So,
I know. So many people trying to pick from to try to choose.
you got help here, Lifeline. You got, you can name it. Call a friend.
Let's roll them into the number 4 question. Let's roll them into that.
Okay. So this is what we'll do then. All right. So I'm gonna use you guys. This is the first time that's ever happened.
Yeah.
So we're gonna hold off on that one. All right. So let's go ahead and roll into the number 4 question. So the number 4 question is, who will have more wins this season? Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, or Justin Fields? So we're going to pit this off with Eric and Chaz. So I'm going to start this off with you, Eric.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say Zach Wilson will have more wins this year. The reason why, he's already the number 1. Just like Trevor Lawrence is, Justin Fields has to battle for his number 1 spot. He will eventually get there. Even though the Jets are not a good team, I think he's the spark that sets New York off. Trevor Lawrence, he'll win some games. He's got coaching, but they're a young team. He's struggled in preseason. So I'm just going to go on a limb, shot in the dark lottery pick. Zach Wilson's going to have more wins by maybe 1 game. It's not going to be a landslide, but 1 game. I believe in the BYU kid.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to disagree on that. I think Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields both have a better season and more wins than Zach Wilson. I'm only saying that because the Jets stink. The Jets repeatedly stink. They've added him. And I think that he's good, but I think he's a rookie coming into a league with seasoned defensive coordinators. I think he's going to struggle. But I'm going to have to stick with Trevor Lawrence having the most wins. I would take Justin Fields. I just don't know when we're going to see him. I think that if he was starting, they have the best defense and all-around organization for him. But yeah, I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence on this one.
Now you said, Zach Wilson's a rookie. All 3 of these guys are rookies now. Let's not forget about this. These are all highly touted college number 1 draft picks.
I'm going to take the running ability and playmaking ability of Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields.
Hey, Zach Wilson, he's an athlete too now. I would almost say that Zach Wilson's arm is better than Trevor Lawrence, but the only reason people don't know that is they watch Trevor Lawrence more on primetime. A lot of BYU games weren't played. So
Yeah,
I'll give Zach Wilson that edge if you watch the combine.
coming from a guy that plays a position, they both have crazy arms, but Trevor Lawrence's ability to maneuver and be accurate at such a consistent basis and just be the winner he is, I think he's going to be able to squeak some games out. But I am impressed by Zach Wilson. I'm not sleeping on the kid at all. I think that his upside is huge. It's just, can he stay healthy and will he have the weapons to do so?
I think it's easy to be a winner when you walk into nice situations like Trevor Lawrence has had from high school, college, and now not so much this situation in Jacksonville, but Zach Wilson, he's going to have to earn it. I don't think it's as easy or as hard for Trevor Lawrence to earn it because he is the number one and he really doesn't have a backup to challenge him. But
just look at the drop off at Clemson and when Trevor Lawrence wasn't playing.
This is true, but we haven't seen BYU's drop off either, and they're not going to be that good this year.
Come on, Zach Wilson's a once in a lifetime kind of quarterback,
and that's why he went number one. We're going to see.
We'll see.
We're going to see.
One more. You guys are tied.
It's always hard with Chaz. He's good.
He's
Chaz
good.
is good.
Chaz, can you?
Okay, I'm just gonna go with the fact that Trevor Lawrence has played in the big games. He's been in prime time so much and has failed to not show up in any of those games.
Hang on, he did lose a national championship.
He did lose them, but he played extremely well in those games and injured in one of them.
He did okay. He did lose a game though, but I'll give it to Zach Wilson because the NFL likes an underdog, and he didn't go number one overall. So I think Zach Wilson has a chip on his shoulder, and guys play good in this league.
The
with a
Jets
chip on their shoulder.
Stink.
But it only takes one player.
And that New York media for a young guy, 0-3. I don't know.
We'll see if they go 0-3. It takes one player to put fans in the seats, and the Jets haven't had that player in probably a decade.
He'll fill the seats up for him for sure.
All right, I'm gonna give this to you, Chaz, because the Jets just do stink. Yes. All right, so here we go. So we're gonna start this off with Taylor and Chris. So, Chris, question is: after Cowboys' close loss against Tampa Bay, how confident do you feel that the Cowboys will do this season?
I was actually somewhat impressed with the Cowboys staying in that game. I think that it gave me an idea that possibly they could even do as great as winning the lowly NFC East if things fell just right. So I think it was definitely for Cowboys fans I'm sure they took a little bit of hope out of that loss.
Yeah, I've got to give it to the Cowboys. They did a good job. I think they could make it to the playoffs as a wild card. I don't see them winning the division, Joe. The division, just because that defense still is a liability. I think the football team has more. They're more well-rounded, and they're going to be too much for the Cowboys to handle.
Chris?
There's no wild cards coming out of the NFC East. The only way they're getting there is if they win it. And it's going to be tough. I'm not saying the Cowboys are going to win. It just showed that they have the possibility. If things fell right, Dak stays healthy, and maybe they figure out that Ezekiel Elliott can run again, that they might have a chance of making a push. I think that there's just enough, and Cowboys fans are typically somewhat delusional, so there's just enough light there in that tunnel that I feel like their hope is out there.
Hey, I do not.
I have some very close Cowboy friends.
Here's the thing. Shout out to my close Cowboy fans out there.
Brian, Jerry Jones. Come on.
Brian Lewis. Ryan Brooks. Hey, Cowboy. That's America's team. So let's show a little bit more respect around here. So here's the thing, though. With Dak coming back, that Cowboy team looks much different.
Dak definitely gives them a lot more hope than anything they've seen without him.
Yes, they give him a chance. Taylor, you got anything to say?
I got to give it to you. I think that Cowboys could,
Amari Cooper was looking hot the other day.
Michael Gallup.
He's out.
They still got to lock
3
down
to
the
5
defense
weeks.
a little bit more. We all knew that their defense was a little weak, so hopefully. But again, it gives hope. Yes,
their schedule is pretty soft, Chris. Going forward.
You don't see. Well, they play in the NFC East.
Exactly.
Of course, it's
but listen. They do play the AFC West, but their biggest challenge is going to be when they play Kansas City, because they got the Chargers next week. So Chris, I'm going to go ahead and give that to you, Chris. So
And I just want to say I'm sad Tampa Bay let me down because I thought this was going to be a blowout game and I wanted to see Jerry Jones cry and it didn't happen.
It's always a beautiful sight.
Oh, I would also like to mention in that game, it did not come down to the pass interference. If you go back and watch Dak early in the drive miss a few balls and they drop a couple passes, you'll have a whole different answer for that on top of the field goal kicking.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll give that one to Chris. Good one, Chris. So let's go ahead and start off on the knockout round here. So we've got Chaz going against Don, and then we've got Eric going against Chris. So we're going to start this off with Chaz. Chaz, did Tampa Bay prove their case of them going with their win against Dallas? Do you feel they are considered now repeating Super Bowl champs? If so, why?
Absolutely. Tom Brady coming out on a Thursday night game. Defense played extremely well, in my opinion. They have the injury at corner. I'm sure that guy broke his arm. I watched the film. He's done. But I think that this Tampa Bay team has a lot of swagger, a lot of confidence. They look a lot better than they did last year, in my opinion. I think that offense looks polished. I think Tom Brady's doing what Tom Brady loves to do, spreading the ball around. He looked uncomfortable at the beginning of the game, but man, he really settled in and just played Tom Brady football. And you give that man with the ball with a minute 29 on the clock, and you can almost write your message for yourself.
I would have to say no, because this game alone didn't prove that they are going to be repeating it. Because their running backs had both fumbled the ball twice. And let alone their run game just cannot get going. Even though Tom Brady proved that when time comes, he can get the ball down the field to win the game. But this game, hate this, no disrespect against the Cowboys. They played a team that couldn't stop the pass and they couldn't run the ball either. So me alone right now, this game one didn't prove that they're repeating Super Bowl champs.
I'll give you the number one reason I believe Tampa Bay is going to be a Super Bowl. They might play in the game. Antonio Brown looks like Antonio fucking Brown. Excuse my Rich. Blurt me out. But this guy, everybody forgets Antonio Brown may have been the best receiver in the game
when he played for the Steelers.
Yes, if you go back and watch that AFC game against the Jaguars and Big Ben's throwing it up all over the place, this guy is a premier receiver. If he can keep his head case under control, I really like the Tampa Bay swagger. 2 years, Bruce Arians, those guys love playing for him. They're having fun down there in Tampa. I think they're going to be hard to beat.
Well, I want to see if they can improve on their run game. If they can't improve on that run game, as we get into the later part of the season, then they're going to prove my point why they're not going to repeat a Super Bowl champ.
See, and I have no problem with Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones in my backfield carrying the football, especially with that tandem. I think that they stay healthy. They both add different diversities to the game. And I didn't really think that they struggled too much to run the ball the way that they wanted to. They're not a big breakaway group. I mean, Leonard Fournette's not going to go and run the ball 70 yards down the field, and Ronald Jones is a guy that you incorporate third down and pass game and take some hits off of him. I mean, I thought that they looked really, really good.
All right, Chaz, I'm going to go ahead and give that to you. I should have docked points on that for you, but no, we'll go ahead and give that to you. All right, so you will await the winner here. So, on to Eric and Chris. I'm going to start this off with Chris. Who will have more wins this season? The Jets, the Jags, or the Lions?
Man. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo is how I feel on this. It's a really tough call there. Jets, Jags, or Lions. I'm actually going to pick the Lions. I think there's a little bit more stability, even though I'm not a big fan of Jared Goff. I think the team itself has a little bit more stability throughout it, and a little bit more. I know is this the second year coaching, or is it the head coach?
New coach.
New coach this year? Okay, yeah. So I know it's his first year, but I feel like he's got a little bit more NFL pedigree behind his name, where he's coming from. So I think the Lions are going to have, and I mean, eeny, meeny, miny, one more win. Does that mean that they have more wins? One more?
My pick is actually also the Lions, and here's why. They have a pro quarterback that's played in the league. He's played in the Super Bowl. Everybody else is a new coach and a new quarterback tandem at the same time. This is just a new coach, so they only have one X against them as opposed to two. The Jets are, like Chaz said earlier, one of the worst teams in the league. The Jaguars, Urban Meyer, new coach, Trevor Lawrence, new quarterback in the league. He is the starter, so they might tie. I'm not going to say they're going to have more wins than the Lions, but I think the Lions have the chance to have the most wins just because of proven pros already there.
I also think that they'll have the most wins because the Jets and Jags are going to be bad. They're going to probably get a top 5 draft pick. The Lions will be just good enough so that they get a draft pick that is out of that elite top 5. You know, they're going to. And I know that Penei Sewell's struggled a little bit there, but I think he's going to probably wrap himself a little bit into form. So
I just think it's the Lions because two rookie quarterbacks, they haven't played against NFL cornerbacks or linebackers yet. They're going to rely too much on their arm strength and their athleticism, and you can't do that against NFL corners because it may look like they're open, but they're actually covered. So I give it to Jared Goff because he's already made that adjustment. He's had good coaching, and he's played in big games where these guys have only played in big games in college. So I just give the Lions the edge just at the quarterback position alone.
yeah, I still got the Lions. I was just thinking about how normally, like historically speaking, I'd probably say the Jags because they tend to have a better franchise over the years. We've seen them make the playoffs with even guys like Blake Bortles. But the Lions, like again, I just keep coming back to they'll have just a good enough season that they won't fire their coach and hold on to another bad season.
They might squeak a couple.
I just don't think you can count the Jags historically now because this is a totally new regime.
That's where I was going on the Jags is that with it being a total flip-flop.
Same thing with the Jets.
Well, the Jets are just always the Jets, just like the Lions. But the Lions seem to have just a few more wins than the Jets
just
most year. You know, they're.
Taylor, do you got any comments on this to help you guys out? They're kind of neck to neck here.
If I had to choose between the two, I'd have to go with the Jags. Just, I think Trevor Lawrence is in a good spot. He's got some good receivers around him. James Robinson was a beast last year. He's going to be back. And I think they're going to do just enough to have that edge.
All right, this is it, you guys.
All right, so here's what I'll say. This is Jared Goff. Even though he signed a 4-year deal, I'm not sure, or he had money on his deal. I'm going to say this is his last
I think he's still
chance.
just got his contract that was with the Rams.
If he doesn't make it work with Detroit, he's out of the league.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to say, because if you can't make it work with Sean McVay, who else can help you? He's the hottest coach in the league, and he traded you away.
But he'll get
a 10-year
just
veteran.
enough. He'll get just enough wins to lose his job, but not enough for them to get the top QB pick next year.
This is true.
All right, Eric, you just did it. Again, this is the third time that Chaz and Eric are going to go at it for the championship.
This is mano a mano right here.
Okie dokie. All right, so far, Eric has won 2, Chaz has 1, Chris has 1, and Patrick has 1. But again, will we see a three-peat, or we'll see a double here? All right, so I'm going to start this off with you, Chaz. So I had to think about this one. The question is, will the Cleveland Browns advance further in the AFC this year, or they will be a disappointment?
I wouldn't say they advance, but I think that they are going to be playoff contenders. I'm not sure they win. I think they won 13 games last year or something like that. I really like Steven Stefanski. He was over in Minnesota for a while. I think he does a really good job with play calling and managing games. He had success with a lot of different quarterbacks in Minnesota, especially when we had injuries. I think Odell coming back and being healthy, he's always an X factor kind of guy. Jarvis Landry. They played the Chiefs tough last year. I think Baker Mayfield may have built some confidence. The defense got better, and I really just think it comes down to how Baker Mayfield plays. But I think that they're still contenders. I still, with Baltimore being beat up, I think that they probably win the division. I'm sorry to say that.
That's okay.
But yeah, go ahead. That's my take.
So I think the Browns, just off injuries from the Ravens, just moved into the number 2 spot behind my Steelers. The reason I say that is you have to have a run game in the AFC North because all those stadiums are outside. Nick Chubb is there. You also have to have a very good defense. The Browns, they added some pieces this year. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a hero or zero game for Baker because he can rely on the run game. He can rely on the defense, the pieces they added. The coaching is getting better. But they're still, and they had their Super Bowl game, first time beating the Steelers, at Heinz Field in a long time. So all that's over. So I think they are better, but they're not better than the Steelers. So they do progress, but they're still shy of winning the division behind the Steelers.
Last year, the Steelers beat absolutely nobody on their way to the playoffs. That defense struggled in big games. The Browns didn't even play overly well against the Steelers when they beat them. I really think that the improvements on defense just to get after Big Ben, and I think Big Ben's a huge caliber quarterback, but they just haven't won any big games. I don't see them just walking out clean slated with Stefanski coming back. You have Kareem Hunt. You have Nick Chubb coming off his best season yet. The tight end position, they're really good and athletic at. Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, man. You're talking about a team that put Patrick Mahomes on his heels. And you're talking about a Pittsburgh Steelers team that didn't really beat anybody impressive last year.
You're right. We didn't beat anybody late. We lost our last 5, but we did go 11-0 with Ben injured with his elbow and stuff like that.
I believe the winning record of those teams was really, really bad.
You're right. But also, the reason for a lot of the pressure was Ben didn't have a run game to depend on. Now
we haven't seen this kid.
This is true.
We haven't seen him.
But what have Alabama running backs done historically in this league? They've taken it by storm.
Better in defense.
And they've done very well. I'm talking historically Alabama running backs. We got the best one probably in the last 5 years. So I believe in Najee. I think he'll do good. But
I can't think of what's his name. Trent Richardson, sir?
We're talking more than 5 years. I said 5 years. I said 5 years. Also, we're not talking about the Steelers. We're talking about the Browns. So like I said, they do have the pieces. I don't think they take the division. I think they do very well. They make the playoffs. They might make a run, but they fall short.
Okay, Taylor, real quick, do you think the Browns will surpass you in a playoff spot?
I could see Browns and Ravens both making divisional appearances. Are they going to make it to the AFC Championship game at this point? Remains to be seen.
Ravens won't make it without any corners.
The Steelers won't make it without protecting Big Ben's big ass.
Yeah, but there it is. That's mine.
I'm grounded. You win.
Okay, there you go. All right, Chaz. Well, we're gonna have to work on you. All right, double time, 2 time. All right,
Back
good
to
game,
back.
guys. That's good.
We don't take points away again.
He just got you on that. I mean, if he just got you on that, hey. It was a good game.
It's always hard with me and Chaz. It's always
hard.
good.
It's hard.
Welcome back, Chaz.
Yeah,
Welcome back.
It's good to be back. I got to fix my language.
All right. Well, hey, let's go ahead and conclude. You guys, stay tuned for the next episode. We will go over week 2. We'll talk about the college rankings, and also we will get ready for the Major League Baseball playoff, and also tuning into the National Hockey League, and as we mentioned before, the Carlitos Way soccer way. We're going to do is look at the countries qualifying in for the World Cup. So, any quick shout outs before we go?
Shout outs for me. Just good to be back.
It's good to be here with fellas, chilling, and just, hey, have a good one.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to everyone out there that's listening, and also a shout out to our other shows, Wichita Vice, guys. Hope you guys are listening and checking out some of our other shows. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, just giving a shout out to all my Ravens fans out there, and it's just good to be back here in the studio doing what we love to do.
I'm going to give a shout out to all the NFL fans who've been waiting for this a long time. We're COVID clear, so we're going to have, a season. I also want to give a shout out to the Georgia Bulldogs for jumping to number 2 and winning their game decisively. I'm just happy it's football season.
Yeah, thank you to the audience. Thank you to the family, friends of the audience, and we look forward to seeing you to the next episode.